As you may have heard, William Way is moving again. And I say again because their original spot is 326 Cater Street, which, if you know anything about Philly's geography, that means it is a hop, skip, and a jump away from Approved Textiles. There's 326. This is where the original William Way was, or at this point it was called the Gay Center. Down this alley, it stood here from its initial inception until it moved further into the neighborhood and then down into William Way, where it stood for decades, the Penguin Palace, then into LGBTQ Community Center, then into William Way. Philadelphia has a really long history of queerness, of LGBTQ, and we're proud to be part of that. If you look back through some of the books, specifically the book Philadelphia City of Brotherly and Sisterly Love, they talk about how Spruce Street used to be just known as like the gay epicenter of Philadelphia, but only the queers knew about it. And so it became code to say, oh, do you live on Spruce? And then that was code for, are you gay? So I really love that. Also, further down on Spruce, if you look at Washington Square West, Congo Park, there's that very large building that's right off of Spruce Street, and it used to just be called the Pansy Palace, because guess who lived there? This very specific area, or like this building right here is now a bodega. That used to be a really prolific theater that hosted the very first LGBTQ comedy festival here in Philadelphia. And that's just over here on Bainbridge, and I'm just walking over here to the shop. So there's this like connection from heritage to contemporary that I've been thinking a lot about now that we have this space here at Approved Textiles in Fabric Row. And I think that's where this programming comes from. It's a nod to the past, but also welcoming into the future of here we are at the end of Pride Month, when there's hundreds of thousands of people with you at a Pride festival. It can feel really easy to feel proud because you can blend in. And also what happens when you're by yourself and you're back in your workspace, or you're back with a heteronormative family. How do you ground yourself? How do you stay true to yourself? And part of that is through like tactile work, it's through grounding work. And so we're really excited to offer this at the very end of Pride Month. Remember, at Approved Textiles, we don't necessarily celebrate Pride because it's important for Matthew and me to just take a big break in June and just recharge our own batteries and take a deep breath while everyone else is singing. And so we really want to offer this gift at the end to say, how can you still be authentically you, unapologetically you, in the other 11 months? And that's this programming. So Pansy Palace, do you live on Spruce Street? All of these are code for different ways that we speak in code, that we're flagging to each other. And that's where this class workshop comes and just picks up the lineage, takes on the heritage of this beautiful, long, coded world of queerness. And pansies, or flowers, used to be worn in Victorian times on people's lapels so that it would clear the stench of some pretty specific or not specific bathing habits. And over time, which flowers you wore began to symbol things, began to flag things, began to telegraph who you are, who you're into, telling people who you are in a coded language so that you could be visible in public, but still have safety. And so there's this range of flowers, from the very famous green carnation, which Oscar Wilde made famous, roses for trans people, to hydrangeas for genderqueer and gender nonconforming people, lavender for lesbians and gays alike, to violets specific to lesbian and sappho love, pansies specific to fairy culture and gay culture. All of these flowers started to telegraph to others who we are in broad daylight, removing ourselves from the shadows. And the lineage of going from flowers on a lapel into bandanas actually starts in what some historians are naming as the Gold Rush, where in these largely like male-dominated towns and industries, after a long, hard days of work, working in the mines, they would go down and for entertainment go into the saloons. And depending on which bandana you wore meant you wanted to dance with someone or you wanted to be danced with. Did you want to lead the dance or did you want to follow the dance? And then that began to morph even further into, hey, I want to do more than just dance, or this is what I want to do after the dance. This is what I want to do after the dance to you, or this is what I want to do after the dance to me. And all of that was communicated through color. And that mutates into putting bandanas into your back pockets. probably hits its peak in the 1960s, 1970s in a very prolific hanky culture. If you wear it on the left side of your pocket, on the back pocket, that means you want to do it to other people. If you wear it on the right side, you want to have it done to you. And it's about any kind of connection two humans can have in a physical, sometimes psychological, and even emotional sense. It's largely sexual, sometimes it's not. But because there are so many colors in the rainbow and in the color spectrum, there is many different wants, needs, and desires of the human condition. And all of those are covered for better and for worse, and that is putting it entirely in a very sanitized manner. And so I think with this class, what Jess and I have come up with is like a nod to the floral flagging and then the very literal Hanky Code flagging, and bridging those into some kind of queer futurality. This moment where we're picking up the amazing work of our queer ancestors and bringing that into something that's uniquely ours through craft, through art, through being public. So Jess is going to come with their linocuts. They have a lot of really amazing pieces that they have already created, and we're going to put those on our matka sew 22 by 22 inch bandana blanks. And we'll also have all of the colors imaginable with thread that you can embroider, hand stitch, and sew into parts of the handkerchief that won't be lino cut. So it's going to be this like really beautiful three-dimensional, super textural piece that you can have with you to help ground you, to help make you visible, to help make you feel connected to a larger lineage, to our heritage, to our queerness, to our ancestral flagging. And it's important for us to do this, I think, at the end of the month, because this month is all about being out and visible, and yet we're still looking for those tools on how do you do that in the 11 months out of the year that aren't June, in which we still feel connected to the broader queer collective. So this is a 3-hour workshop. It's on a Sunday afternoon. It's from 3 to 6. It's a little bit longer because it's the very first time we're using paint in Approved Textiles. So out of an abundance of caution, we don't want to rush the system because there's a lot of grace that Matthew has had in allowing us to bring paint into Approved Textiles. The class will start off with hand embroidery and kind of design, where we'll figure out, you'll know which stamps we'll be using, or you'll be using, and then which threads and colors you would like to use. You can use it based off of the Hanky Code that's pre-existing. You can make up your own code. And this is truly like the textile that is a communication. It's like journaling, it's art therapy, art visibility. It's all of those pieces. It's going to be Sunday, June 29th from 3 to 6 p.m. I really hope that you join us. It's going to be a really intimate, tender, slow, meaningful way to think about our future selves and how we want our future selves to feel seen and grounded and connected to the deep queer and trans lineage that we are a part of and that we get to continue.